Good evening, everybody. It's Sunday night Podding Shed Live. Hopefully, you come through nice and loud and clear. We are having a bit of issue with internet connection, I'm noticing. So, if I'm a bit jittery, I do apologise. How are we all doing today? It certainly feels like it's dropped in temperature. It's pretty cold here on the south coast. Now, today, what we're going to be doing is I'm going to get you all to list out your winter jobs that you plan to do over this winter. Also, for us all to share and hopefully get inspired on things that we need to do ourselves over this winter months. Before that, I'll go through what I've been up to over this last week. But firstly, let's see if we've got anybody actually in the chat. First of all, we got Ballycillian Allotment Man. Hello to you. Oracle Ards Allotment. Hello, Army. Hello to you. Philly SPB. Hello, everyone. How is everyone keeping? Hope you are well yourself. Turbo Stream. Good evening, Veg Grower Army. Veg Army Growers, as he put it. I do get tongue-tied from time to time, as you no doubt know. Who else have we got? Stuart Jackson, good evening to you. Hope you are well. Sean O'Brien, good evening to you. Hope you are well as well. The lovely Rebecca Hawkins, evening gang. Hope you are all well. Good evening to you. Anna Jones, hello Richard. Hello Gardeners. Good evening to you. Richard Vobes, evening all. Good evening to you. Graham Arnold, good evening to you. Hope you are well as well. Pete Bartlett, good evening to you. Hope you are well. Lovely to see you. Who else have we got? Ian Beddoes. Hi, Adrian. Thought I'll get in first for once. Absolutely. Hargrave Gas, good evening to you. Hope you are well. Richard Golding, hello to you. Let's have a quick look. Pete Bartlett, redesigning my garden, ready for next year. Fantastic. You have to share with us a bit more about what you're doing there. Ian Suggett, good evening to you. Hello, Dad. I think that is everyone. So please do leave us a comment in the chat. Let us know you're out there. Let us know what you've been up to in your own allotment, your own gardens. And everything else. Beatrice, good evening to you. Just saw that coming in. So what have I been up to over this last week, you may ask? Well, I did something in here the other day. I can't remember what I did. I think I sowed some seeds. I did. And I can't remember what I sowed. I think it was lettuce that I sowed in here on Thursday. Friday, I sowed some more microgreens. As you know, something that we did on a live show a few weeks ago. We've eaten all the microgreens already. Trying to keep a good supply of microgreens coming in. Yesterday, I headed down the allotment, only for a couple of hours, but in that 2 hours, I'd done so much. So first of all, I had to tidy up all the prunings that I made from the apple tree and the cherry tree a few weeks ago. Just basically tidied that up, got all the things that are too small into the compost, and just smartened the place up. What else did I do? I covered cardboard over the old sweet corn bed, ready to get that filled up with compost and get my broad beans in there very soon. And what else did I do? I can't remember now. All I know, I remember the garlic has grown quite nice and large. The onions are growing, so we're off to a really good start on the allotment with things growing. Shallots aren't showing any signs just yet. Neither are the elephant garlic, but I'm not worried because that will come along pretty soon. Today, I've been tidying up my home garden. Had to make a bit more room. I've got the space in between my two sheds where I've just dumped a load of junk for the time being in order to sort it out, smarten things up, strip around the edges of the beds. Now that I've taken down the chicken wire that stops the chickens from getting onto the beds, I can free that up and make it a bit better for myself. I've just got to think of a different way of keeping the chickens out, but that's something I'll have to discuss later on. Something else that happened, slightly sad news, we lost one of my male quails. Not too worried, to be honest. I mean, it's tragic. Don't get me wrong. Don't like anything dying. By the way, if you hear my heater coming on and off, apologies for a bit of noise, but I need to keep warm. But yeah, we lost one of my male quails. Uh, we've it was about time they're getting old a bit. We've decided we're not replacing our quails. We're going to slowly phase them out. So it was a bit of a blessing in some ways, but at the same time, I don't like seeing dead animals, of course. So that's what I've been up to over this last week. What have you been up to yourselves? Let's have another quick look in the comments. Where did I get to? Turbo Stream. I'm too hot, sat in front of my wood burner, causing global warming. LOL. Wife just got the fire going just as I was coming out to this shed, funny enough, in order to keep us warm. Adrian, hello to you. Don't know if I said hello earlier on, but hello to you. Turbo Stream. This week I've been finishing my pallet compost heap, making a winter jobs video and transplanting gooseberries. More on that a little bit later on. In Meadows, just need to put some more coal on the fire. Evening, Richard. How are you? How often do you go to your allotment now per week compared to the summer? Good question, actually. Very good question. I still try and make at least a once a week visit down to the allotment, even in the middle of winter. Probably don't spend as long down on the allotment because it's colder, it's darker, but there's less to do on the allotment anyway. One of the other disadvantages I have with the allotments, and it's happened to me the last couple of years, from about December onwards, I don't take the van right up to my allotment or take any vehicle right up to the allotment because it gets so muddy that I've got the van stuck in the mud a couple of times. So I tend to not worry so much about that. I will just now park at the entrance and have to walk up, which is annoying when you get some heavy equipment that you have to take. But it's much easier than trying to dig out a van or a vehicle that's stuck in the mud. Richard Vames is saying the wood burners on here, the SE. I am burning wood, Ian, to spread the ash on the plot over the winter. Yeah, that's a good use of wood ash. It's great for the garden, especially in the tomatoes. I've got to say that. Rebecca, cleaning out the pond for me. It's been a big job, but needed doing. Oh, that sounds a pretty cold job as well. I've got to say, hasn't it dropped in temperature? It's certainly today. It's certainly dropped. I've been wearing gloves all day out in the garden. I don't normally wear gloves. Perhaps I'm just feeling the cold a bit more. I even got a heater on in here, like I said, so keep it nice and toasty in here. What else have we got? So Pete, 5 years our garden has never felt like ours. So changing everything. Had chickens a week, so that's fun. Fantastic. You will not regret getting chickens. I love having my chickens because they are brilliant, not just for eggs, although we've run out of eggs. First time in about 5 years we've run out of eggs. Means next year I've got to get some new chickens. But yeah, I love having our chickens. The quails have been fantastic as well. It's just we don't feel we're giving the quails enough time, enough care that we feel it's time for them to move on. All I have done this week, I've sown some lettuce all the year round and chilies, part of the Supporters Club seeds. Hope you're feeling better, Stuart. I know you've been very unwell, so I hope you are feeling better. At least you've managed to get out and do something in the garden. If anybody wonders who isn't part of the Supporters Club, it's my way of supporting the podcast and the live show. We charge £5 a month, and each month you get a packet of seeds delivered, or several packets of seeds and newsletter arrive through your door. Details at theveggiegroundpodcast.co.uk. Beatrice, this week I have planted field beans and got 2 new compost bays built. Fantastic. Definitely something I've got to do, build a new compost bin. Ran out of room really in my current compost bin, but that is something I've got to do. But that I'll be talking about in just a moment, actually. Toby Stream, I potted on my cabbages this week. I was going to plant them out, but decided against it as the cold weather is here. Probably best just to hold off. I think they will be okay. I have a feeling we're going to suddenly get a warm spell before. I don't know when, but I got a feeling I'm going to get a warm spell, which will probably be great for getting those cabbages into the ground. Biley Cillian is saying that he's got a job done that I've been dreading, weeding the gooseberry bread. They are so thorny, aren't they just? Aren't they just? They are probably thornier than anything else. So, they're probably thornier than brambles, I would say. If you want to call in, the phone line is open 07307 135 174. And if you want to zap yourself in and appear on screen, the link is going up in the chat right now. Unless you are watching in the Facebook group, then I may not see. You may not see the chat. I may not see who you are. Right. So, winter jobs. What are you doing on your allotment? What are you doing in your gardens over these winter months? For me, I always feel the winter months is the great time for doing what I call the infrastructure work. And now, what do I mean by that? The things like rebuilding beds, building new beds, repairing beds, building possibly greenhouses or potting in paths, arches, that sort of thing. The stuff that I feel can be done now, and it's probably the best time to do it in some cases because everything is either empty or just not in use. Plus, you've got plenty of time at the moment. There's not so much we need to do in the allotment, not so much we need to do in the garden. So, great chance for infrastructure work. Now, what I'm going to be doing here at the home plot, we've got a couple of posts that are left in around the vegetable patch. They've got ivy climbing up it and they've got lights on it. They are going to come down. I've got to disconnect the lights and then take those posts down. Hopefully that'll get rid of all the ivy and, well, just tidy things up. I like ivy, but it's not edible and it's a lot of work. And these posts are just looking awful, worse and worse. So that's one of the infrastructure jobs that I'm going to be doing here at home. Down on the allotment, I need to build 4 new beds. I've got to get the wood and cut it down. They can be, basically, I'll probably cut the wood at home, take them down to the allotment and build them in situ. And then I will also be building a new compost bin or 2. Idea being that my compost bin basically rotted away, was looking a bit tatty and falling apart. So I've dismantled it. And I've got loads of scrap wood all over the place. So I figured I'm going to build a new compost bin ready for the allotment just for that. And just Idaho Garden Girls join. Good evening to you. Hope you are well. And Turbo Stream. If I can find my enviromesh, then I will plant them. No idea where I pot it. But somebody who's probably going to tell us, will come up with a list of what we can do in his own garden is Mr. Stuart Jackson. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Hello, mate. Yeah, I'm a lot better now, thanks, mate. Yeah, you don't want that COVID stuff. It's horrible.
So I'm led to believe. You're okay now, though?
I got no taste, got no smell, but apart from that, I'm fine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it could come back tomorrow, or it could come back in 2 months' time, I've been told. So.
Well, at least you're on the mend. That's
yeah. Oh God, yeah. Back to work tomorrow. Back to normality. So yeah, I can't remember the last time I felt that ill.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. So
yeah, I've got to rebuild my bed. My bed's coming apart. I put too much compost on it.
So that's obviously something that ties in quite nicely with tonight's show.
Yeah, well, the back end of it is plastic. It's got like linker board or something like that it's called. And then I extended it in lockdown, if you remember, with an old sandpit that they were chucking away at school. So I used that. But it wasn't even half an inch thick, so it's not really man enough for the job. So I've got a bit of 4x2, and that's going to go down, and a couple of layers of 4x2 should suffice for a bit.
Sure. And I guess all the time that bed's empty, I'm assuming it's empty anyway. It's probably going to be the best time to do that repair anyway.
Yeah, well, I've made the mistake of putting the board beans in. So they're at the back. So that end is okay. So I just need to come. So I've got like 2 rows of board beans and some garlic in that end. That's the back, let's say the back end of the garden, and then I've got to extend it anyway. So I thought I'd just now the rest of the beds are empty. It just means I can chuck the soil back a bit and then put the new panels in and hopefully fill it back up.
Sure.
Because I want to make it totally no dig. I don't want to be able to put the fork back in it. I just want to be able to do it with a trowel on the end of a long, a trowel on a long handle rather than using spades and forks. And so as I'm getting a little bit older, I'm making it a little bit easier.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. So what else are you going to be doing over the winter?
Well, on my veggie pod's full up. So that's been probably the best investment I've made for a couple of years. I think that is going to be a really top buy. Yeah. So that I've got to keep on top of that. That's half full of herbs and half full of winter salad.
Nice.
But I've got loads of bulbs and stuff to put in, a lot of flower stuff to prepare for the sales in the spring. But I want to sell more veg because during lockdown, everybody was asking for veg plants and a lot more people got into gardening. So my intention is to, where I buy a packet of seeds, and as you know, you put half the packet in and the other half goes back in the box. I'm going to sow the whole packet every time and then sell the rest. Yeah. So so I've got, I think, 6 packets of pea seeds and 5 packets of raw bean seeds. So I'm going to bring them on over the winter, and then hopefully, if I can keep them going and not lose any, I'll be able to sell them in. Because a lot of amateur gardeners, a lot of people that just garden for a bit of fun, they don't want to overwinter stuff in the ground. So if I can keep it going in pots, and then they can just buy them in trays, and I'll be one step ahead of the garden centres, hopefully.
Yeah. Or you could almost sell them in like large pots, so that people buy them just grow and ready to go. Yeah, great idea.
Well, I've got loads of buckets, as you know. I do collect the flower buckets from the supermarket when they're chucking them away. I could drill some holes in the bottom of them and just plant them up with a few cheap canes and send them as they are. It's but that's my plan. I just got to keep healthy now. Again.
Yeah. Well, that's the important thing. So you do keep healthy and you do look after yourself. What about at the school garden? What are they going to be doing over the winter down at the school?
Wow, we are following our good friend's success plan. So there will be something every month to do. They've already sown the garlic and onions. Just before I was ill, we sowed a load of raw bean seeds. I did have a message while I was off to say, can I go into your cupboard and get some seeds? So hopefully they've not sown the wrong stuff. But what I tend to do at school is I take this month's seeds in. Yeah. So the kids get to choose, but they get to choose what will go in the ground this year. So this time of the year. So there's a bit of Swiss chard, there's sweet peas, there's raw beans. I think we've still got onions and garlic to sow. So if they haven't done it while I've been away, that'll have to be done this week, because we're getting a bit towards the late end of December, nearly December. We got to get them garlic in and onions in. Yeah. But one bed would be put cardboard on it and get that ready for the spring. I'm just going to cover it with cardboard with some bricks and a bit of compost. I'm not going to waste too much compost at this time of the year. I'm just going to chuck enough on to keep the cardboard down and rot it down, and then in the spring they can start again. But they got to clean the greenhouse and things like that, because we haven't done that yet. Yeah. So they'll love that on a nice cold day with a warm bucket of water and soap and clean the greenhouse. They'll love that.
Well, that's actually quite essential to do About before the winter, I would say clean the greenhouse,
Yeah.
because that's when you need the light, the maximum amount of light
Yeah.
into the plants.
Yeah, well, there won't. I'm not intending to grow loads of seedlings at school over winter, because obviously we have 2 weeks off at Christmas, and if I sow a load of seedlings, it's me that has to go in and water them and look after them and turn the heat. If I have to put heat on, or bring them home and put them in my heated greenhouse. But we have got a veggie pod there, so I would like the kids to start growing some winter salad in there, or some herbs so they can use them in lessons. So, but I've not put the school veggie pod together yet, but it'll only take an hour. It's just finding that hour to do it. So
yeah, I know. It's never enough hours in the day, is there?
I know. I wish I had more hours for gardening than I did for work, really. The time will come. Time will come. Yeah.
So I've had a few questions coming for you. So first of all, Turbo Stream is saying, glad to see Stuart looking well again. Digwell is saying, were you all jabbed up, Stuart?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two jabs, and I was waiting for my booster, but I have had to put that off.
Right. Yeah. Ian Bennett is saying, one reason I brought a veggie pod, Stuart, getting older and not being able to bend as much.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I love veggie pod.
Well, I looked into it. I listened to your podcast. You did a podcast about it ages ago. And then when I went to the show in Malvern in September, I went to the stand and had a talk to the lad, then come back and did a bit more research, and then ordered it.
Yeah.
So it's the best thing I've ever done. I wish I'd have spent the money last winter, but I haven't. I've got it now. So, and I got the medium one, because I've only got the space for the medium one. I'd loved a big one, but I just haven't got the space. So
they are very, very good. If anyone doesn't know what we're looking at, check out veggiepod.co.uk.
And I've heard their customer service is brilliant. So so when you need spares and stuff, and obviously the cover won't last forever.
No. Rebecca is asking, do you sell the veg at school to the community?
Not at the moment, but that is our plan. That is our plan. We will be the kid. Well, I say I will be. The kids will be selling it, and it'll be part of their maths lesson as well. So then have to work out how much we spent, how much we got to make, and then price up accordingly.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. And Skinny Jean Gardner podcast. So Stuart Jackson is a legend.
Not really. Not me. There's loads of people like me around schools. It's just we just need to get more kids gardening, because kids are so important to our industry. Not just when they become an adult and they garden for themselves, but we need youngsters in the industry. You know, you look on the television, all due respect, the youngest gardener is Frosty, you know.
Yeah. I think there's a few.
Well, you got Alice, and isn't it Francis? But most of them are in their 40s, you know, at the lowest end. And then you got the likes of Monty and you know, Bob Flowerdew must be getting on now. But we need kids to go into the industry and, you know, and do the apprenticeships and learn from the ground, learn from the bottom. Because, you know, you could all go in and do an MVQ, but if you haven't, you need experience, not just a qualification.
Yeah.
Because I've got no gardening qualification. I've got no gardening qualifications. I'm just a forest school leader that enjoys a bit of gardening.
Yeah.
So I just think we need to push it a bit more. The industry needs to push it a bit more.
Well, that's a whole other debate. We'll have to save that for the new year, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, I better go and let somebody else call in.
Lovely to see you, Stuart. I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh, I am. Thanks, mate. Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Right. So that was Stuart Jackson. I just saw Digwell saying that Stuart's so loud, Richard quiet. I think Am I up at normal sound now? I think it's the auto gain that the software I use is playing around. I could be wrong. I could do with getting the microphone closer. I don't know. Let me know if you can hear me okay now. Idaho Garden Girl. I've been seeing other people's veggie pods for 4 or 5 years now, and I'm tempted to get one. More and more people showing on YouTube videos how great they are. I think they are absolutely fantastic. I've had one 3-4 years now, and I use it all year round, and I use it for all my salads. It's paid for itself several times over. What else? I did see before students that came in. Did I say this one? Tomo Stream said if he could find the enviromesh, he would plant out his cabbages. No idea where I potted. That's always the annoying thing. That's why I've been tidying this shed up as well, finding those sort of things. Graham Arnold, building a new polytunnel, got all the wood framework done, got to clear the inside and build some raised beds inside, then cover with a plastic sheet. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've never built a proper polytunnel, in all honesty. It's something I would like to do. I prefer greenhouses over polytunnels, but I would like to do one. So I don't really know any advice on how to do that over the winter. The only thing I think we've said when this question came up a couple of weeks ago was to try and do it on a warm day so that the polythene is a bit more supple. Just rolling through. Cornish Haven, good evening to you. Hope you are well. Cornish Haven, sorry. Andrew Norris, good evening to you. Hope you are well. Ian Benno's been reading on the VeggiePod Facebook group. Some people complain the sound isn't strong enough. That's the only negative I've ever seen. My sound has never had a problem, so I don't know on that. Rebecca was asking about selling the veg because she wants to start a gardening club at our school, but not sure how to start. As you know, what school budgets are like. Yeah, they are tight, but the way I would look at selling it to the school is sort of say this is a way of teaching kids how to feed themselves, because there's a big movement, as you know, with that Mark Rushford started off about kids not being able to feed themselves. So that's how I would approach it, by being able to teach children how to grow their own food. Alison O'Brien, good evening to you. Hope you are well. Digwell is saying to Ian Meadows, I have the big one, 2 years now, no issue with the stand. All okay for me, Richard, with the sounds. I've not had any problems with the stands at all. I know some people have got the ones with wheels, and you need the stronger ones with the wheels, but I've also seen people add their own wheels, and I think that's not necessarily the best way to go about it. And Stuart Jackson is saying to Rebecca Hawkins, send him a message and he's happy to help. If you want to email me, and I'll pass your email on as well, that might be an easier way to go about it. So back to winter jobs that I'm going to be doing. Please do keep telling us your winter jobs as well. I was saying that I'm building a compost bin. That's quite a major one, actually. I wanted outside here to build a greenhouse on the other side, not so much a greenhouse, a grow house on the other side of this shed. But looking at the price of wood, I think, I don't know what that sound was, don't know if the mic picked it up, but looking at the price of wood, I don't think it's going to be worth building anything this year. I think the price of wood needs to come down because it's pretty expensive at the moment. So that's a project I was planning to do, but I'm going to hold off. Winter pruning, that's always a good winter job. Some of the trees and bushes that need a good winter pruning. That's always a job that I save for the winter when they're dormant, so they're less likely to die. What I usually do is wait for all the leaves to fall off. and then you can see all the branches. And I usually start by cutting away dead, diseased, or damaged branches. And then I'll look for any that may be crossing, and then any that are just in the wrong place. Usually, that's all I have to do when it comes to pruning. Um, Unless you're trying to beat it like I've had to do, where I had to get it down to the size below the 2.4 meter height restrictions that we have on the allotment. Winter pruning is actually, I think it's the best time to do it over the winter. Like I say, because the trees, the bushes are dormant. But the trees and bushes, or the trees particularly, you don't do it to stone fruit trees, because there's a good chance that you will give the tree, I think it's called silver leaf disease. We save that for the summer. That's what I usually do anyway. I think that's always a good summer job. I think it should be compulsory for young people to learn to grow and cook their own food. Life lessons that will never go out of fashion. Yeah, I think it's this whole other debate. I probably should open up another time. Excuse me. Cornish Heaven. All my bulbs arrived, Richard. So much planting to do, and at 2 extra fig trees, more like twigs. It'll make 4 I'll have then. Fantastic. Love figs. Brilliant trees. And good to get more of them. The other thing, actually, on that note, I've just occurred to me something that I'm going to be doing. I've ordered some bare root fruit bushes. And again, these are only available over the winter months. These bare roots, they literally mean what I say. They come with barely any roots on the bottom. But because they're planted over the winter and they do all that work under the ground, they put their roots out underground over the winter, they establish so much better from my experience. And that's why I love them. Or I prefer to plant them for over the winter. Skinny Jean Gardener's looking at building his shed and building the main structure of a new garden. Wintertime is always a good time to still get outside and do them build projects. I agree. And I think it's also a good time to look, as I said, at your infrastructure, your sort of layout of your garden. It's a good time to adjust things as and when, as required. Idaho Garden Gal. I'm still canning salsa. Since last week, I cooked and canned habanero, apricot jelly, hot salsa, tomatillo jam, tomatillo salsa, chipotle tomatillo salsa. I have a couple more batches to do. Fantastic. That sounds absolutely delicious as well. And that reminds me, actually, I meant to do a video about my chili jam that I make. I did forget, but I got called out yesterday, so I didn't get the time to make it. But I will have time next weekend, guaranteed, that I will make chili jam. Now, talking of videos, I have been sent a video from the lovely Turbo Stream about his winter jobs. So let's have a quick look at that now.
Hello, Richard and fellow Veg Army. Winter jobs on the plot. So this is one of my first winter jobs I'm doing. Putting a small little path down the side of the shed next to my, it is actually a compost heap. You can see all the amount of rubbish I've dug up underneath. A lot of plastic and all sorts. This is the bit I'm revamping, this little bed. I've got the plastic on top, which I found underneath where the slabs are. That will be a small, probably a shrub board or something like that. And then I'm gradually going to walk around the back of the shed and hopefully tidy all that up. This is a complete mess around the back of the shed. That's where we were before. These are red currants, so I'm trying to tidy these up. I'm going to put some trellis up on the shed. There's brambles in there. There's a right load of junk. So over the winter, that's going to get sorted out, hopefully, before the spring. I also want to tidy up these water butts. These need attention. There's one on the lean. I need to sort that out. I need to replace some wood at the bottom of the shed as well. And this is the rhubarb bed. I've tidied this up a lot. There's some brambles that come out of there. That's looking a lot better. There was some kind of spiky thing growing out of the ground here. Well, that's gone. So in the spring, I'll tidy that up. I'll get rid of this green tumbler. Well, it was a compost bin, a tumbler thing that keeps all sorts of, that's going to go into the corner. And then I've got some more brambles to take out by that gooseberry and try to tidy that up. Just in the middle of the picture there. And today's task was to get some wood ash. And I've sprinkled it all over this bed here. I've got washing over the winter. I've got a fair bit to do there. I've got some strawberries to tidy up. And I've got all this junk to get rid of. This is the junk pile at the moment. And then this area where there's some strawberries, that's going to come up. And the compost bin that I made, that I'm making, will replace eventually this leaf bulb mold bin. When that gets spread next spring, that'll probably get taken to pieces and thrown away. And then a series of compost bins will come along this bed. And this is going to be the soft fruits area. I've decided. I've already planted some rhubarb crowns. You can just see the little green leaves sticking out there. So hopefully that will take. Another winter job is to transplant some gooseberries from home. So I'll clear this bed out. This you have 2 gooseberry plants which I need to dig up. And then the brassica cage will come down. And then that'll be, if those gooseberries take off, I'll plant something else where these brassicas are. These are done all poorly in there. So I shan't be planting brassicas there again. So that is it. Those are my winter jobs. You can see in the back, the Basilia, the green manure, that's done quite well. Where I just sprinkled the wood ash, that didn't come up for some reason. So I've ordered some more for next year. And one final little thing, these are my little patch of broad beans. Just for green manure, really. I've got some flowers on, so you never know. I don't think I'll get some broad beans, not this time of year. But those will get cut down in the spring. They can go on the compost heap. And I'll leave the roots in. This is to fix nitrogen, something like that. And just beyond there is a row of parsnips. I need to tidy those up. Another job to do.
Well, there we go. That was a lovely little video from Turbo Stream. And I've got to say, looking very, very busy down there. Very tidy as well, in my opinion. What I did like, when he mentioned the green manure down towards the back, and I saw it down there, it was Phacelia looking really big and huge. You can see when it's like that, how it works at just blocking out weeds, suppressing weeds. Fantastic stuff, Phacelia. Really fantastic green manure that can be grown over winter. We had a few comments come in during that time. Ian Beddoes, would you water them with any feed? Just planted a plum tree today. I think you're asking if you plant a plum tree today, would you water them with any feed? Personally, I wouldn't. I would wait until they're established properly until I would start feeding. So all I would do is make sure it's well watered for the time being to make sure it's established. In fact, you know, when you first plant it, probably a good couple of watering cans straight away, and then just keep watering it on a daily basis for the next week until, and then keep up with the watering just to make sure it establishes. Good thing at this time of year, because the ground is pretty moist, it does have an easier advantage at establishing rather than if we're trying it in the spring as the drier weather comes in. It takes more water. This is from my experience anyway. I have a lot more success trying to establish things over the winter months. Cornish Heaven has also had 15 tonne of wood chip delivered. 15 tonne, that's a lot. Just need to spread on the veg garden paths and through my rear meadow where my dog is destroying the grass. Yeah, Roxy's not here tonight. We took her on a long walk so she would go to sleep. Yes, Richard, I would be so glad when I'm done with the canning from Idaho Garden Girl. I've also done tomatoes, tomato sauce and pizza sauce, and my kitchen looks like a bomb went off in there. I know that feeling all too well. Freezers run out of space very quickly as well, don't they? Rebecca, I find the garden is very busy in the winter as I don't have the evenings after work to garden, so I have to catch up on my days off. looking forward to the late nights again. I totally agree with that as well, and I find the same sort of thing. Nowadays, I'm up a bit earlier, so I actually do get a bit of time in the morning in the garden, but not enough, and it's not really like I can do a huge amount. Getting the lawnmower out at 7 o'clock in the morning isn't really on, but I know what you mean. The weekends is when I make up for it quite often. I mean, even in the summer, I feel weekends are where I really catch up on a lot. When's the time to cut asparagus plants? Planted 1-year-old crowns, and they took very well. The foliage has all turned yellow. When should I cut them, and how much mulch or manure should I pot on top? So I would say you can cut it now. Personally, I tend to try and leave them for a little bit longer until spring even, just because of insects can use some of those, the hollow tubes for a bit of a home. But you can cut it now. And if you're mulching with compost or manure, I would go a couple of inches. It will settle down. It will actually protect the asparagus crowns as well. Something I would also urge you to look at using is seaweed as a mulch on asparagus, that is, because asparagus is a coastal plant. It will tolerate the salts quite nicely. Again, asparagus is something that I've found when I plant over the winter. If anybody is looking at planting asparagus, I find if you plant it over the winter, it establishes better than if it's planted in the spring, from my experience. Some people over here have a second kitchen. They call their canning kitchen, sometimes in the basement, sometimes on a large porch. One I saw in a screened shed. Yeah, that would be nice to have a bigger garden, a big enough place to have a second kitchen, of course. I would love it. I would have my kitchen, the wife would have hers. Mine would be a mess, hers would be spotless. Beatrice, great video, Turbo Stream. It was a great video, wasn't it? Anna Jones, thanks, Turbo Stream. Lovely video. And my aim is to keep my plot simple and tidy for 2022. Yeah, you know what? This is something I'm constantly telling myself, is that I overcomplicate things quite often. Keep it simple, stupid is a saying I always use, and that's what I'm adapting on the plots, especially when it comes to keeping things tidy. Well, Richard, you're so knowledgeable. You know more than Monty Don. I wouldn't say that. I've just picked these things up over the years and got to know quite a few things. That's the advantage of doing these live shows sometimes as well. You put on the paces. I'm sure Monty Don, if he was here, would tell you something completely different as well. If you want to snap yourself in and appear on the screen, just like Stuart Jackson did earlier, the link is going up in the comments any second now, I hope. It's been a bit slow. Yep, there you go. It's gone. I'm having internet troubles tonight. But you can also call in on 07307 135 174. So what other winter jobs are we all doing over this winter? So far, we've seen like there's a lot of people who are building beds and rebuilding polytunnels and things like that, which I think is great. Infrastructure work is probably key throughout these winter months. Planting of plants, I think, can be done better over winter when they're dormant. They're more likely to get their roots down, which is why I always do things like my trees, or even digging up and moving trees. Actually, that's something I've got to do down on the allotment, because I've had several cherry trees that have popped up from seeds that birds have eaten and dropped on the ground. And I'm going to dig up these extra cherry seeds, put them in pots, get those established, so I've got extra cherry trees to have all over the place. And back at home, actually, last year I did plant a apple tree in the meadow area, but I planted it at the wrong time of year. I planted it in the summer and I did look after it well enough. So I'm going to be replanting a new apple tree this year, straight into there, and that's going to be done throughout the winter months because I know that is more likely to establish. Again, that might be another bare-rooted apple tree. We can buy those from good nurseries. There's several near me. In fact, I might be taking a visit to one fairly soon, which might be suitable for getting some of these plants. But I also know come February time, places like Wilkinson's and even Tesco's or supermarkets, they start to sell bare-rooted fruited trees pretty cheap for about a five, 6, 7 quid, something like that. I have bought those a few times, and they do work. They are pretty good. The only trouble is that one of my one of my pear trees, I think it was, I planted, was meant to be a particular variety, and it quite clearly was not that variety. Wrongly labelled. So that's something to think about if you are looking towards planting more fruit trees, planting an orchard or something. Might be worth holding on for those bargain plants, but just be warned. Graham is saying, cheers, Richard. You are most welcome. Rebecca Hawkins, I also do a lot of moving around in my flower garden. If anything didn't look good now, is a great time to move. I agree with that. This is why I'm saying that because everything's dormant, your plants are dormant, they're much easier to move around and replant, and they're more likely to more likely to last by doing that as well. This is something that I often do. I moved several apple trees in previous years. I might actually move an apple tree this year. I'm not sure yet, but because it's dormant, that's the best time to do it. Found some nasturtiums that have self-set still growing. It has been mild. It has been very, very mild. I still have potatoes growing out in the Christmas dinner bed. They're still growing, so they're still doing pretty well there, which is unusual. I mean, I got very mild here, being so close to the sea, but still have potatoes growing. Pretty impressive. What do you think of grass versus perspex in the greenhouse? A couple of years ago, when I had a storm damage all the glass on Grandad's greenhouse I have down on the allotment, I did a lot of research into whether it was worth replacing the glass. Excuse me. Replacing the glass with perspex, and I decided to go for glass in the end because it is more expensive. But my analysis was that the glass was going to be structurally stronger than the perspex, and therefore should hold the frame a bit tighter in theory. That being said, I've seen a lot of people who have used perspex in place of glass, and I'm led to believe it works very well. Stuart Jackson, I need to get some fruit trees for home this time. If the year is very busy for me, preparing for charity sales. Yeah, like I say, if you want to wait on for those bargains, it might be worth just holding on a little bit longer. And like I say, Wilkinson's, they're normally £6. Morrison's, Tesco's, they're not the best, I'll be honest. They're not the best. You can't guarantee them, but they are pretty good. Not sure why, but your video is better on Facebook than on YouTube. Reloaded twice. I am having troubles with internet. I know that much. I've got both my phone and onto my broadband, and I keep getting a sign that is struggling. So I don't know why it's better on Facebook. Normally it's the other way around. It's normally better on YouTube, unless Facebook has upped its game, of course. But thank you for letting me know, Digwell. Much appreciated. TurboStream. I brought a bare root blackcurrant from Poundland with one leaf on. I've grown it on for a couple of years. This year I took cuttings. Hopefully they take. Yeah, I mean, again, black cuttings, great thing. We did that a few weeks ago, didn't we? I'll have to show you what's going on with that. I can't do it today because I can't get to them at the moment, but we'll go through those cuttings next week. Digwell saying that polycarbonate is better than Parspex. Yeah, that's what I also found, polycarbonate, twin-walled polycarbonate is probably better and better insulated than glass. But I did still worry about the glass just not being rigid enough to hold the greenhouse a bit firmer together. Rebecca, just got a quick question. I'm insulating my greenhouse with bubble wrap. Has anyone done it before? If so, what did you use to stick the bubble wrap down with? Thanks. Right, I've never done it. It's something that I keep saying I should do, but I've never done it. But what I would use is double-sided tape. And yeah, there is some stuff that's removable. It's quite expensive, I think, for what you want to use for it. But that's what I would use: removable double-sided tape. But if anybody else has insulated their greenhouse with bubble wrap, let us know in the comments how you did it, what you used to stick the bubble wrap to the glass. Idaho saying that is awesome to propagate something like that. I agree. I mean, I love black currant. I love black currants. I love red currants, and I just think taking cuttings is sometimes such a cheaper way of getting more plants, especially if you have them already. Again, black currants, red currants are something I really like. I was going to order some new ones, but actually I've got plenty. I've just got to clear the weeds out underneath them properly this year and over this winter in order to try and make sure that they don't keep getting flooded with weeds. That's generally down on the allotment. But I'm also out the front. I'm going to be having pots of, out the front of my house, that is, pots of currant bushes and gooseberry bushes, just because I like them and I think they're edible and therefore a lot better. Stuart Jackson is saying, I have lined my greenhouse with bubble wrap. I used the greenhouse clips, about £2 for 100 from the garden centre. Yeah, so I'm guessing that's the greenhouse clips that hold the glass into panel. I could be wrong, but that's... Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, no. So I thought I was going to sneeze there. Yeah, I think that sounds... let me good my words out. Well, Stuart's saying he used these greenhouse clips to hold the bubble wrap together. To hold the bubble wrap against the glass. That's what I think he's saying. That's actually quite a cheap way of doing it, actually. I didn't think of that. I took a load of cuttings this year. I can give away any spares ones that make it. There you go. If anybody does want any cuttings, let TurboStream know and he can give a few away. If you want to come through me, just email me and I'll email TurboStream if that's easier. My email is richard@theveggardpodcast.co.uk and I'll add all the email. I'll get everyone to hook up. Stuart, actually, are you going to be lining your greenhouse with bubble wrap in the same way again? If so, would you be so kind as to make a video to show how you did it? Because I think that is going to be interesting. Oh, it did come on and say, not the glass clips, the little green plastic ones. You twist them into the bars of the greenhouse. Right, I'm not quite sure what they are, so please do send me a video of this, Stuart, and let me show us how it's done. That'd be great. What else are we going to be doing over the winter? Well, I think if you heard on the podcast I went out on Monday, protecting our plants over the winter is a big thing. I've moved all my tender plants into my greenhouse so that they are protected in there, and they are doing pretty well in there. Always doing my bananas, my dahlias, those sort of things. They are so reliable in the greenhouse that I can guarantee I will get them again next year. But I also outside, I've got my cloches out, and they're over some of the beds that I'm going to be sowing things like lettuce in. And have sown some lettuce. Sown some lettuce just today, actually, in there underneath a cloche in order to keep them a bit warmer so that they can hopefully germinate and produce some good lettuce. So yeah, that's something else I do over the winter, and something else I've been doing certainly over winter is constantly sowing plants, sowing seeds, but keeping them protected and into somewhere a bit warmer. Like I said, cloches for me are a big thing, the greenhouses, and that sort of thing. What else? What else have we got? My cuttings usually fail, so it might be a long wait. Don't worry, I'll just put everyone into connect and see. I'm going to see it. There we go. We'll go see how we get on from there. I will film my greenhouse this week so you can show it to the army. Fantastic. So if you do want to zap yourself in and appear on screen, the comment is going up, hopefully going up. Yep, comment is going up in the chat right now, or you can call in on 07307 135 174. The number is on the bottom of the screen if you need to see it. Oracle was saying another Stuart Jackson's clip would be great. I'd love to see them, please. No digs well, but I always. Oh, please. He knows dig wells, but he always ends up in the kitchen for hours. Yeah, Digwell does have that effect, doesn't he? He cooks something, you just want to go and cook it and get very hungry after watching Digwell's channels. But he does come out with some fantastic recipes, I've got to say. I know he's watching, so he's probably feeling rather elated with this. Cornish Heron, getting some very large sycamore trees taken out. 5. Having my back meadow terrace so I can have a large 40 by 38 polytunnel raised beds and fruit cage too. Each terrace will be 30 by 50. Wow. I mean, you're living a dream there, Cornish Heaven. You've got a huge amount of land. That's fantastic. My greenhouse is heated with a tiny 1,000-watt electric heater with a thermostat set to 11 degrees C. The heating cost us about £10 last year, cheaper than bubble wrap and no hassle. Wow, I didn't realise it was that cheap to keep it running. I've avoided having a heated greenhouse, but at that price, I'm quite tempted. I'm just looking at. I've got a little heater just down underneath me here. I'm just wondering. I don't know. It's keeping me warm. I don't know that much. Just seeing if it's got a wattage on it to find out how well it is. Must be. It's a 2,000 watt, so twice the size. There we go. I'll have to keep get a look out for a 1,000-watt electric heater to put in my greenhouse because I do like the idea of having a heated greenhouse. Don't watch my last 2 videos then if you don't want to be hungry. That's very true. What's the best thing to do with green tomatoes? Not giving up just yet, but think I'll still have some left over. Green tomato chutney. I can't remember how to do it off the top of my head, but if you have a look online, there will be green tomato chutney recipes all over the place. It is delicious. Other than that, you can use green tomatoes in quite a wide range of recipes. What's just made that clicking noise? God knows. But yeah, a lot of recipes you can do with green tomatoes, but I would look at green tomato chutney. Or you can ripen them in a drawer or in a sunny windowsill, if that helps as well. Turbo Stream is thinking of all the wood from a sycamore for the log burner. Yeah. Digwell is due a new recipe soon. Yeah. It does come out some fantastic recipes. Tessa transparent tape is very good thing for sticking things to outdoor glass. Doesn't come off even if it gets wet. There you go, Tessa transparent tape. I've not heard of that myself, but that's something to look at. Stuart Jackson uses a paraffin heater. Cost me about £20 per winter, just keeping it just above freezing. I had a paraffin heater. I tried using it one year. It didn't last long. It kept going out, so I gave up with it. I didn't bother. So instead, I think the electric heater for me is going to be simpler, which is why I'm looking at it and thinking that might work quite nicely. This is, again, when I built this another greenhouse just outside this wall, I was looking at having a heater in there just to keep it going over the winter. I got some great patio potted fruit trees from Lidl's summer before last. £8.99 each. I keep seeing that actually, and I always wonder if it's worth it or not. So I'm pleased to find out somebody brought them and they've worked out well. Well, my bubble wrap only cost £7 for a huge roll. I went for this option as the electricity prices are going crazy. Yeah, that's why I've thought about electricity prices and with electric heaters also put me off. I'm hoping they're going to come down again, but who knows? Although I've also thought about getting solar powered electric on our house anyway, but that's a whole other debate as well. But for bubble wrap, I've got to say, I end up with so much bubble wrap from work. I mean, I've just had to throw loads of it into the skip because I have so much of it. If anybody does ever want some bubble wrap and you're near me, just tell me and I'll save it up for you. Is that shed haunted, Richard? I hope not, because I've only just been. It's not even a year old yet. Cornish Heaven. My mum's neighbour used to bubble wrap 12 months of the year to shade in the summer. Yeah, I mean, I can see why you would bubble wrap in the summer as well, because it will act as a holding in the cold. But again, I've never done it. I've never done it, in all honesty. Shall we have a look at some photos that have came in or photos that are in the group? So, first of all, these have gone the wrong way round. But Stuart Jackson has been sowing, these look like they could be coriander. He's been sowing those in his paper pots. He's also been taking cuttings. I can't remember what he said that these were, but as you can see, he's put those in a tub of water and they've already grown roots, looking really quite fantastic. Ian Beddoes is here with one of his jokes, as he often shares. We're hoping it's a perennial money tree. Wouldn't that be nice if money did grow on trees? Turbo Stream sent in this photo using the leaves as a mulch on his bed on the allotment, as you no doubt saw in his video. But what he was also saying is that these are the cuttings from the gooseberry that he's planted as well. This is where we should have started. Back to Stuart Jackson. He's been sowing some sweet peas or peas and some broad beans, getting things off to a good start. He's also got some lupins and something else. Oh, coriander that I think we've already mentioned. Yeah, there we are, back at the beginning. For some reason he didn't start at the beginning, those photos. And during that, the light for the grow lights have just gone off, so the light may well have changed in here. Back to the comments. Digwell saying the latest video, a spiced pumpkin pie recipe uploaded during this chat. Love pumpkin pie. You saw when I had Halloween special with Phobes, we were eating pumpkin pie then. Delicious. Can't wait to see your version, Digwell, because I'm sure you've done something a little bit different. Ian is saying tube heaters perhaps for the electric heaters. Yeah, that's something I'm looking at. I have been looking at in quite a bit of detail. My greenhouse is too far away from the house. It would cost me too much to run the cable down to it. Yeah, and I would always say, if you don't know what you're doing with electricity, make sure it's done properly with a qualified electrician, because greenhouses are also wet places for electrics, so you want it done correctly. Thanks for the warning, Digwell. We'll let you know how it goes next week. Yeah. Often see bubble wrap for free on Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, bubble wrap. I get so much of it from work, and then I just get fed up with the stuff. 4 years ago, I bought 2 of each, apple, pear, plum, and cherry from Lidl's. Turned into a great mature fruiting trees. Fantastic. I love hearing these, because I often hear back people say or ask if they're any good. The fact that you've got some huge mature fruiting trees from these trees from Lidl just goes to show a lot. Those cuttings were oregano. I thought they were oregano. That's how I pronounce it. I know some people say oregano. I say oregano. Bubble wrap only holds in the heat that is already in the greenhouse. If there is no heat, then it holds the cold in. Yeah, that is the insulation. That is insulation. Yeah, insulation does work like that. In the same way, there's a slightly off topic here. There's a story about a place in Wales, I think it's Wales anyway, where they couldn't afford the rent one particular year in this village. And the landlord said that if you can bring some snow from the top of the mountain, you can have your rent free for the month or something. So the climber went up there, tried to get some snow down, and he ended up wrapping it inside his fleece and brought snow down from the mountain because it held the cold in. I don't know if that's a true story. It's just a story I always remember. What have we got? Cornish Heaven. I bought some banana plants from Morrison's this summer. Mine are going in a heated bedroom on the windowsill. I didn't see the ones that Morrison's were selling, but I would suspect they're probably Musa Babusa or something like that. They're more a canna than a banana, but I do have 2 banana trees myself. They do tolerate cold weather outside, actually, quite nicely. But yeah, if you do want them to throw it, and I have seen bananas produced in a stately home not far from me, so it can be done if you get the right variety, of course. Interesting fact about bananas. I don't know if anybody knows this. So the Cavendish banana, which is the most common banana that we eat, that was actually bred in England and then transported all over the world to be planted out because it was so popular. There was a slight problem a few years ago with a disease because of only that one particular variety of banana was causing problems. The quiz is coming along nicely for Boxing Day. Fantastic. I will have to pop round because I've got an idea for the quiz that I'll have to run past a few people just to jazz things up. Rebecca Digwell, I must get around to watching your videos. They sound great. Yeah, please do go check his videos out. Fantastic videos, lots of cooking. My picture was to show the transplanted gooseberries. The cuttings were along the side of that bed. Oh, so let me see if I can pick it up quickly. It's this one. So he's saying that my picture was to show the transplanted gooseberries. The cuttings were along the side of that bed. So down towards the back, I think, you can just see some cuttings that are in that bed. I think that's what he's saying there. Sorry. Oh, cool. I bought a tree, some Lidl, and this so-called expert cut it for me, and it never fruited. Yeah. I've heard that happen many, many times. Sometimes, though, it does depend on the tree as to how often it fruits. Anna Jones has just had a quick peep at Digwell Green Fingers. It looks delicious. I will be watching it once this is finished. Turbo Stream, that's the plan, as it's costing £1,600 to take them down. Yeah, you want to burn those sycamore if you can. Oh, cool. I prune my own very easy, and my trees fruit very well. Yeah, I think that's something we'll have to look at doing at some point. Is talking about pruning. Christmas trees and stuff. Yeah, because pruning Christmas trees, pruning trees, we'll have to do. Just looking at where I've got space to fit it, because there is a bit of a knack to it, a bit of an art to pruning fruit trees, and it also depends on what fruit tree is or bush to how you want to prune it. In this regard, that some trees and bushes fruit on the first year canes, others on the second. So it's very, very complicated sometimes. I've been making some yummy soups this last week: vegetable, lentil, and tomato. Next, cauliflower with curry soups. Do enjoy a nice soup in the winter months. I've got pumpkin soup. I've got parsnip soup. The Jerusalem artichoke soup. A lot of soups are being cooked here over the next few months. I should be done that myself by the Cillian. I think it was sabotage. Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Some people are known to prune trees whenever in order to cause sabotage. Yeah, no, we've got 15 minutes to go. This show has really flown by. I'm just looking over what the winter jobs that people are talking about. Seems like there's a lot of infrastructure work going in, building beds, building polytunnels, building greenhouses, insulating greenhouses, insulating polytunnels, getting electricity in for electric heaters, sowing plants, sowing seeds for overwintering, taking cuttings, pruning. That's something we can really go into a lot of detail about, pruning. In case you haven't guessed, my nose is still blocked up from this cold I've had for the last week, so I'm struggling a bit today. But yeah, that a lot of winter jobs. What other winter jobs can we do, or will I be doing? I'll be mulching, mulch. Something I do pretty much all year round. But added lots of compost to the bed, lots of manures. I don't dig. I'm a no digger, so I don't dig my beds. I know a lot of people do that. I don't. But that would be a job that would be traditionally done over the winter. Excuse me. I make parsnip, apple, and potato soup. Excuse me. It's really nice. The apples give a bit of a sweetness. I believe you've spoken about this before. It tastes delicious. I'm going to be trying that very soon. I can't wait to make some chili jam. That will, like I said, I promise that will be done next week. It's just because I got called out, I couldn't do it yesterday. It needs a day to cool down before it's ready anyway. So I will make sure next Saturday I make this chili jam. It is absolutely. I was catching a sneeze again. Absolutely delicious. So what other winter jobs are we going to be doing? Let us know in the comments. Now, next week, I'm going to be doing, on next week's live show, the unthinkable. We spoke earlier. Margaret said that we've got the quiz for the Christmas quiz coming along nicely. But next week, I want your ideas of what you would buy a gardener for Christmas presents. We're going to do the Christmas list, Christmas gift list. This is something that I'm very a bar humbug person when it comes to Christmas. So I really am going against the grain to do this, but it does need doing. There are a lot of Christmas presents that can be bought for gardeners. I get annoyed with garden centres at this time of year, and people, it's no secret, is it? People know this. I get annoyed with garden centres because you go in there and it's all Christmas tat, not necessarily garden related stuff. If they sold garden related Christmas gifts, I would be very, very happy. Rebecca is asking, are everyone's chilies okay? Anyone got any germination yet? Funny enough, I was looking at mine just before we went live just to see, and no, we haven't got any germination just yet. I reckon next week we will start to see some germination, but rest assured we will bring those out onto the show next week to have a look at them. I have Swiss chard in the ground. Will it be okay under cover outside this winter? Yes, absolutely no problem. It's hardy. It's very hardy. It will be fine in the ground. I even harvest a lot of Swiss chard over the winter months just to keep that healthy salady crops going in as well. There's a reason they call it perennial spinach or perpetual spinach. I spent most of the autumn mulching and burrowing leaves. Funny enough, I think I said last week we haven't really had much leaf fall. Well, this week it's all came down in one huge lump. So I've got to get out there, get all those leaves ready for making leaf mould. That's another winter job, isn't it? Leaf mould and for using as a mulch. God. It's those. On that note, Sue on Facebook, who's obviously watching in the Facebook group. Lovely to see you. Collected lots of leaves, put them in builder's bags and watered them. Does that sound right? Yes, it does sound right. The only thing I would say is make sure that the water is able to escape from the builder's bags. The thing, I've put them in Hessian bags before, and the Hessian bags have actually rotted away with the leaves. But what other people and I've done as well is put them into plastic bin liners, and just put a few holes with a fork into the bin liners just to let the water escape. Otherwise, it rots into the water instead of rots into leaf mould. Builders bags, I think they're pretty porous. They let water through, so it should be okay. But just keep an eye that they're not getting flooded and rotting that way. They want to be moist, damp, but not sitting in water is the way I would describe it. Turbo Stream is saying, no, not Christmas in November. It's the last week of November, so I allow it. It's like 2 days before December, so I'm happy with that. The bottom line is everyone's doing their Christmas shopping already, and I think many of us are looking for ideas for what we might want around our Christmas tree. Just in case my wife is watching next week, she might get a few ideas. Oh, God, I hope you had no trouble with your brassicas. That would have been cabotage. Oh, dear. Are we playing Secret Santa? It'd be a bit difficult to do it, but I don't quite know how we would do it. Stuart, thanks. I will be harvesting some chard this week. Chard is delicious, absolutely delicious. Love it. There's so many dishes. We'll have it. We might even use it on Christmas Day in some way, in some form. We are lucky on our plot. The village trust deliver leaves to the allotment in bulk. I wish ours did. Same as wood chip. I know a lot of a couple of years ago, the council did actually deliver a load of wood chip, and it was great because we used it all on our paths, and it made a fantastic. And chickens as well. Used it in the chickens. They haven't done it since, and it's really annoying because it was great to have a good load of wood chips. Sue is saying she will update us in the spring. Fantastic. I think builders' bags are porous. They do let water out because otherwise the sand, when it has sand in it, they would be flooded. But I could be wrong. I finished my Christmas shopping last month. Lucky you. I mean, I went to a shop today just to do some groceries, and it was hell. So the only way I can describe it, it was a nightmare just trying to buy a bit of bread and milk because of everyone out Christmas shopping. That's a whole other argument. So yeah, next week, Christmas gift ideas. Get your thinking caps on and send us links and stuff if need be. Adrian, my father used to say, no point buying for Christmas. If there is money in the account, buy at other times of the year. Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree. Adrian, actually, on that note, how is the alcohol-free period going? Have you still not had a drop? Stuart Jackson hasn't even started Christmas shopping yet, but we will make a list next week and go from there. Hopefully it'll give us all a few ideas. I think the best thing to do is just think about what you would like under the Christmas tree for your garden, for your allotment, and share that with us. Should hopefully be a lot of fun and share a few ideas. I've put rooted blackcurrant cuttings, one in each flowering pot this summer. Hopefully the fruit garden will be ready to pot them in by spring. Yeah, I love I love taking cuttings. I said this earlier. Great way of getting extra plants and hopefully more crops. So something, like I said a couple of weeks ago when we did the cuttings, something that I always do. Adrian's saying he's not had a drink in 6 weeks. Well done, fantastic. Really, really pleased to hear that. So very, very well done. I love soups all year round, but especially this time of year. Yeah, something about winter soups, isn't there? A lot about winter soups. You got a PO box for your Xmas card? I don't have a PO box because they're very, very expensive. Send me an email and I'll sort something out. Who else have we got? Tomo Streamer saying, well done, Adrian, keep going. Stuart Jackson, round of applause. Excellent. Beatrice, well done, Adrian. Fantastic. Idaho, good for you. Keep going, Adrian. Margaret Peacock, well done, Adrian. Keep going. Absolutely. Very, very well done. We have asked the developers building behind us to plant fruit trees along the path going in down the side of our house. Yeah, I wish developers would add more fruit trees when they build these things. Our council have had to put trees in alongside the allotment in between the allotment and the new road that's going in. And they just planted like birch beech, the standard sort of things. I wish there was more fruit trees in amongst it, to be honest. Ian, did they, just remembered, did they ever get back to you about the fence panel, the fence post that they damaged as well? I got on the Tesco delivery queue for Christmas shopping 20 seconds after it was opened. I was 87,500 in the queue. Wow, that's a lot of people in a queue 20 seconds after it opened. What is it? I mean, I hate shopping. Thank you, everyone, from Adrian. But yeah, I hate shopping. But that's just crazy. I think there's a lot of panic buying going in. Thankfully, all our veg is coming from our garden. RE Soup just made a fabulous artichoke soup last week from our homegrown crop. What is your favourite soup, Richard? Oh, that is a good question. That's a very good question. I would say it's a curried pumpkin soup, that's probably my favourite. So I tend to just make an ordinary pumpkin soup and then just add some curry flavour, curry powder, just to give it a nice bit of curry taste. Might even add some curry paste as well if I'm feeling a bit adventurous. But yeah, curried pumpkin is probably my favourite soup. I've got a cream of Jerusalem artichoke, which is also a really delicious soup. The only trouble is artichokes have a nickname for being fartichokes, for the reason they do make you pass gas quite often. I think they're probably my two favourite soups. Yeah, curried pumpkin and cream of Jerusalem artichoke. Or made gift, it would be good to, next week if you want to talk about a made gift, that would be fantastic as well. Don't forget, if you've got photos, please do post them in the group. If you got, or you can send them to me, richard@theveggiegrowpodcast.co.uk. I forgot to say, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the notification bell to get told every time I go live. On whatever platform you're watching. If you're following on Facebook, don't forget to follow the Veg Grower Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to the Veg Grower Podcast and all that. Got to say it, otherwise I get told off from Facebook and YouTube. Build me a new 6-inch extra on the garden. Agreed to buy a new glass for broken greenhouse, and we'll tip a load of topsoil in for me when landscaping. There we go, Ian. There you go. I'm pleased to hear that. Pleased to hear that the developers have sorted that out. Favourite veg dish would be a great topic for a live show. I've got my list of veg dish. Fav veg dish. Veg dish. I'll put that down. That's probably not going to be until the new year, January, but that's probably going to be a good time actually. I shop online with Tesco every week. Currently have 6 weeks pending. Yeah, I've done it. I've done online shopping once. I still pop to the shop to buy it, to be honest. It's only me and my wife. We don't buy that much from the shop because most of our veg is grown here. I always get my food shopping done by at least a week before Christmas. Only failure this year are the sprouts for my Christmas meal. Yeah. Vegetable broth is my favourite soup. Yeah. Good choice. Good choice. Carrot, coriander, and leek potato are my favourites. Good choices. There's some really good choice of soups coming out. Any tips for the artichoke problem? I was told to peel them and did so. It did not work. The only tip I've got for the artichoke problem is to keep eating artichokes. Your body does get used to the inulin that is found within artichokes that causes the problem. So the more often you eat artichokes, the less likely you're going to get the choke side of things. That's the only thing I can tip with that. My sprouts were to seed this year. Add fennel or caraway seeds to artichoke soup. No gas. There you go. I didn't know that. I'm not keen on fennel seeds, but caraway, I will try that. I'm going to try that this year and see if it works. Every little helps in Beddoes. LOL. Fantastic. Right, guys, it is 7:30. We've gone on for just over an hour and a half. Feels like we should go on further, in all honesty, but my throat is starting to hurt. Getting a bit thirsty, so I think I'm going to call it a night. Thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. It's been fantastic to see you. Lovely, great getting to chat. Thank you for sharing your winter jobs. Get your thinking out caps on for next week about Christmas gift ideas. If you want a few ideas, go through a few YouTube channels. Digwell Greenfingers actually has a very good video out already for Christmas gift ideas. If you want to get your mind cap thinking, share those with me. Send any photos to me. You can post them in the Veg Grower Podcast Facebook group, or you can send them to me by email, richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk. If you have any videos you want to send in, go to wetransfer.com and send them to the veggrowerpodcast.co. richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk. Any problems, just email me, richard@theveggrowerpodcast, or contact me through social media. You pretty much always find me on that. I had something else I wanted to mention and I've forgotten now. We will do a show us your allotments in winter at some point as well. So be prepared for that. I think that's going to be January before we do that. Anyway, that's it. Everyone is saying thank you. I'll just finish off. Idaho on supermarket over here is giving a free turkey if one buys $100 of groceries. With the cost of food rising, it didn't take that many items to add up to $100. I got a £21 turkey free. Everyone else. Turbo Stream, I've discovered roasted veg soup makes so much difference. Well, that is it. Everyone else is clocking out. So lovely to see you all again. And we will be back again next week at 6 p.m. Until then, please take care.